Back once again amidst the holiday craze with Erika from the Cricket coming at us from her office in downtown Manchester. Where's the little Christmas tree you're in? Where are the
Exactly.
decorations?
I was just gonna say, look at the difference between the two of us. You're like, woo, woo, woo. You're
I'm
like,
gonna
oh,
change your graphic to just Bah Humbug under your name.
I know.
Although this fireplace is starting to work. That looks like a conflagration behind me, actually.
No, it doesn't. It looks awesome. I love it when you have your electronic fire. It's like
Yeah.
so awesome. The virtual, the YouTube fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on, Erica. It's a sort of a bittersweet day because we're good friends with the folks at Ryan Wood Distilleries, and today is actually their last day.
I know exactly. It's today is the actual last day. We ran a really lovely piece on Ryan and Wood by Jeff Pope. 16 years ago, they started Ryan and Wood Distillery in Gloucester, right at the Blackburn Industrial Park. It was Dave Wood and Bob Ryan. Dave Wood is from Manchester, was from Manchester. He was an attorney, son of, he's in the Wilworth family, which is, they had 14 children and, so there are a lot of them. And Dave Wood is Gretchen Wood's son, was Gretchen Wood's son. So he's a local guy. So that's why we sort of leaned into this. And, Knockabout Gin and, Beauport Vodka. We did a nice piece on them, and it was really, they've done a really amazing job. It's really tough to do a story that's kind of, you know, does justice to a really great business that was successful within the context of the fact that it's closing, and it's closing by choice. I mean, Bob Ryan said, it's old, I'm feeling like it's time, and things with the business were a real challenge. They went through COVID and they pivoted and did, they used the distillery to make, hand sanitizer, and very successfully. But in any case, he felt like it was time. He's going for knee surgery, I believe, later this week or next week. And I think he used the knee surgery to say, basta, that's enough. But we talked about sort of the beginning. What I loved was this story about how in the very beginning, 16 years ago, Beauport Financial came to them, which is, a money management company in Gloucester, and they came to them and said, "Can you special order some vodka for us to give Beauport Vodka as a gift?" They didn't have any wholesale accounts at that point, nothing. And they said yes, they would do it. The party was at the Franklin on Main Street, and they showed up with all these bottles for their clients. And then the Franklin took them in behind the bar, and literally that restaurant has been an account of theirs the entire time. And I think that really shows sort of the goodwill in the region for, Ryan and Wood and all of their products, which all really celebrated the region. But in any case, there you go. And of course, I should say, Dave Wood, who I referred to in the beginning, he died in his 40s, an attorney. It was a big loss because he was just a father, a local guy, a great guy, just a really wonderful, good person. So, we in Manchester, we know him and we love him. So therefore that marks a certain thing for us with Ryan and Wood.
Yeah, Woody was a good guy, and it was just sad what happened. I think the idea was for Woody to carry the business after Bob and Kathy retired. But so anyway, yeah, we're raising a glass to all the
Yes,
families that are involved, especially Bob, Kathy, and Doug Ryan for 16 great years up at Great Republic Drive. So,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
Eric, we just missed each other at Ryan Wood the other day. I bought like two of everything. Like I
And
had
that
to.
probably wasn't enough,
I
actually.
know. It was really
I
good.
know
So
the
yeah, so
call.
get there today, folks. Get there today. That's your last chance.
Exactly. You'll be
Okay,
fighting.
Erica, you also have a great article on big news happening with the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, we did a nice profile piece on there's sort of a changing of the guard, as many people know. Ken Reel, the CEO of the chamber, after nearly 10 years of a lot of success, he's really grown. The chamber is now the fifth largest chamber in the state, which is no small feat. And a lot of that is because of the successful management of Ken Reel. 4 months ago, he announced that at the end of the year, he was leaving, and there was a search committee put up. Well, the new team has taken over because also, and I should have mentioned, Peter Weber, who is sort of the head of legislative affairs and the operations head at the chamber, a long time. I mean, I think he was there already when Ken took over. I think he worked with Mike Costello. Anyway, so he also retired as the operations officer. So there's two new people heading it up, and that is Stephen Buckley is the new. He's a Gloucester resident for the last 20 years. He first moved to Manchester for 4 years and then moved to Gloucester. So for 20 years he's been in the Cape Ann area. He's the new CEO. He comes from sort of the private sector, and in terms of healthcare and healthcare therapy, medical therapy, so the medical space. And then, Bernie Romanowski, who is a Manchester resident, he comes from the nonprofit field. He was in child services for the state of Connecticut. And he then worked for Pathways for Children he's been there for the last 10 years as their chief programs officer. So he's going to be the new operations officer. He brings a lot of energy. The two of them together are really complementary. I think I can tell that they're going to work really well together, not just in terms of, personality match, and capabilities match, but also in terms of just their backgrounds are an interesting match, because people just don't remember that, or it's not obvious, I should say. The chamber has about 20% of its 1,000 members are in nonprofit, whether you're talking Action Inc. or the trustees or Essex or the Gloucester Stage Company. These are big, solid, established, and then also smaller ones, many, many smaller ones. So Bernie kind of has this perspective and this background that is really understanding of a very important constituency for the chamber. And then you have Stephen Buckley, who comes from the private sector. So between the two of them, I think they're going to do some interesting things. This week, we have the goodbye party for Ken in Gloucester. That's going to be sort of a big thing. So we thought it was a right time to actually do a nice piece on it. And it's nice to have sort of that Manchester connection as well, because, the Greater Cape Ann Chamber, they're going to be going into the Gloucester 400th. There's Gloucester. It's a big year for Gloucester looking ahead. But we also can't forget the other communities. We have Essex, Ipswich, Rockport, and Manchester. So there you go.
Right. Yep. So cheers again to Ken and Peter. They really turned things around there. Good guys as well. Loved working with them. So, Erika, you had another great, fun piece, the postcards, right?
Postcards home. Our version of a travel piece, which has become very, very popular. And it's where readers actually submit a trip, and they sort of reach out to us and they say, we're taking a trip. Well, Deb Blanchard from Manchester, she reached out a while ago because she was a very familiar site in Manchester for about a year during COVID, where she was walking on the side of the road with a backpack on. And it was because she was training to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And so she got in touch with us, and we said, listen, when you go, let's work together on a story. She wrote a really very comprehensive piece on her trip, because she returned about 3 weeks ago or a month ago. And she put together a really inspiring story on this kind of bucket list trip. And Mount Kilimanjaro, it's a really, really amazing feat. It's, I think it's I think it's the fourth largest peak in the world. And I may get that wrong, but it's close. And it's in Africa, it's technically in Tanzania, although I've actually seen it and been from the other side with Kenya, but I was never able to climb it. And it's a huge feat. And she really deserves a lot. So it was a really colorful, if you want to kind of just port yourself into another part of the world, it's a really nice read.
Yeah. I don't mind walking the streets of Manchester with you. I don't know about Kilimanjaro, though, Erika.
I don't know if the climbing Kilimanjaro has the sustenance I'm looking for.
Jeez. Well, congratulations all around. That's a great little segment we just did. There's a lot happening. And of course, we're in the midst of the holiday craze, and there's a million things going on. So
there is. It's one of my favorites, though. I love it. Just sort of bopping around. And I know you do too. I watch like everything you do.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. So, okay, we'll catch up next week and see where we're at and take it from there.
Okay. I promise I'll have better decorations next week.
All right. You're on the clock.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.